Good morning and welcome to Odoo Live. My name is Noel, Community Manager here at Odoo San Francisco. Thank you for joining us today. Today I'm joined by Dowd, one of our channel account managers, to talk about payment terms in Odoo accounting. Welcome, Dowd.
Thank you, Noel. It's great to be back here on one of our live webinars.
Certainly. As always, with any webinar, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will get to them at the end during our Q&A session. Additionally, if you showed up late or would like to watch this webinar again at a more convenient time, please use the same link that you are using to watch us now and watch us whenever it's convenient for you, day or night. So without further ado, go ahead and take it away, Dowd.
Thank you, Noel. So today's live webinar will be concerning payment terms. And in the broadest sense, payment terms are the conditions under which a seller will complete a sale. And today, if we switch to the little presentation, are we on there? Great. Our agenda will look as follows. We will start on where and how to create the payment terms. And then we will transition to how to use these payment terms on a contact, whether it's a customer, a vendor, or a sales order. And then what we'll do is we'll set up also how we can follow up on these payment terms. There is a feature that I think will be of great interest to the public. And then we'll also discuss really briefly at the end how to use payment terms as a sales tool. And we'll follow up with any questions and answers that might come up during the presentation. And real quick, I always like to give everyone that is watching the webinar a heads up as to which applications we'll be diving into. Just a quick mention that we're going to be doing this demo on our version 12. And I will be spending some time obviously in the accounting application where we'll set up the payment terms as well as the follow-up feature. I will be spending some time in the contacts, sales, and the purchase applications. And so with that, let me go into my dashboard. So one of the first things we want to do is obviously, just to recap, payment terms can be set on a customer, a vendor, or a quote or sales order. So prior to going into that, we want to make sure we have our payment terms defined. So within the accounting app, you want to come into configuration. And under configuration, if you go under management, you'll see payment terms. Some payment terms come out straight out of the box, are already present, like immediate payment, 15 days, net 30 days. We've already created a 50% down, net 30. You can be as creative as you want and create any payment terms. And again, this kind of dovetails into the topic a little later about how to use payment terms as a sales tool. And I'll show you real quick how this 50% down was created. Once you click on it, you will see that if I hit edit, you can determine this value as to what it will be. So it could be very easily, we can change it to 30 or 60, whatever down payment you choose. In this case, we'll just leave it at 50. And so you select percent, enter the percent. You leave the due as 0 days after the invoice date, and this should remain the same. And then you just hit save. And then when you create the second line, on balance, you just leave the first option selected and the rest should remain the same. So once that is done, we have created this payment term of 50% and net 30. So all of these terms now are available for us as a menu to assign to our vendors and our customers, which we will do next. So let's dive into our contacts. Right now, I'm grouping all of these would be my customers. And just so everyone knows, it's very simple how you can designate a contact. If I remove this filter, you'll see everyone in here, whether it's an end customer, contact, or vendor. And what designates a contact as a customer or a vendor is once you click into the profile of the contact and you go into sales and purchases, this tab over here, you have two boxes that you can check. So you have, is a vendor, is a customer. Sometimes the contact could be both, so you would select both. And I guess we can shoot two birds with one stone. And this is where you would assign the payment terms as a customer. And you could assign the payment terms to the vendor, which might be different. unless, let's say this vendor, Amazon, gives us net 30. Those are our payment terms from this particular vendor. So once this is set this is on the vendor, so I'm going to leave this as a vendor. I'm going to uncheck customer, and I'm going to hit save. Once I've selected the payment terms of this vendor, this information will be pulled in when we go into the purchase app. Now I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go to my favorites and search my customers again. I'm going to use Sellmania here. And as a customer, I've selected 50% down, net 30. And I'm going to deselect that. And I'm going to hit save. So now we have set the payment term for this customer. What we can do is now quickly go into the sales app and run through a flow as to how this information will be pulled into the sales order. So we're going to create a sales order. I'm going to select the customer that we just touched. And as you can see, it's pulled the payment terms directly into the field here. I'm going to add a product. Let's see if we have an iPhone. Yep, iPhone 8. And I'm going to sell them 2 of those. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to confirm the sale. So now that we've confirmed the sale, let's go through the process and say they're going to pay us the 50% down. So I'm going to create the invoice. And I'm going to do the down payment here, select down payment, put the 50% down. I'm going to create and view the invoice. And once I have the invoice, here is the 50%, which turns out to be $800. I'm going to go ahead and validate this invoice. So now it's an open. What I want to do is I want to reconcile, since this was the 50% down, they've paid us with credit card, cash, check, whatever the case may be. I'm going to go ahead and register the payment. And I'm going to go ahead and validate the amount. So this has been paid, but we still have, obviously, a remaining balance on the sales order. So in that case, I can come back here, and I'm doing this from the sales applications. This very well could be the job of somebody in the accounting department, obviously. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a second invoice, and I'm going to go ahead and leave this. Odoo, obviously, we know that there has been a down payment, so it selects automatically invoiceable lines, deduct the down payments, leave it as is. And go ahead and create and view the invoices. And there sits the invoice, the second one. I'm going to click on that one. And let me see. I'm going to go ahead and validate it, but I'm not going to register the payment. And the reason being is I'd like to see how this looks like from our accounting app. So if I leave our sales application and dive into our accounting app, I go into our customers, invoices. We will see all the transactions that took place. Here is the initial amount that has been paid. And here's the initial or the secondary invoice that is still open. And obviously, this is a great tool for us to be able to filter a group by, let's say, due date. And then we can further, it tells us exactly what is open, what is paid for every month from now through November, and also some past invoices as well. And we can also filter furthermore by status. There's our status as open. And this gives us all the outstanding open invoices that we have out in the market. This is important because as we're going to go to the next flow, and we'll compare this page to, let's say, to our bills, and then we can figure out how much money we have that are in the receivables versus the payables, and that will give us a good idea how much cash on hand we'll have. So I'm going to leave this tab open. I'm going to duplicate this, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the next phase, which is I'm going to create a PO. In this case, I go into our purchase app, and I'm going to create a PO. And if you recall, we had already said that Amazon was on one of our vendors. If we just jump back real quick, just to confirm, go back to contacts. I'm going to go ahead and select my, here's Amazon, and our terms are net 30 with Amazon. So let's go ahead and create a purchase order. And then we're going to purchase, again, an iPhone to replenish our stock. And I'm going to go ahead and confirm this order. And I'm going to go ahead and create a bill. And I'm going to ahead, and when I'm creating the bill, I'm going to put today's date, and it will automatically populate the net 30 that the vendor is providing us as the payment terms. And let me see, what else do we need to have here? I think we're good. We're going to go ahead and validate this bill. And so now if we go back to our accounting app, and under our vendors, we'll go to bills, and here it should be. Here, did I forget to? Here's Amazon. Yep. Oh, I already validated. Unfortunately, it says paid. My intention was to leave it open. That's okay. We have some other open bills, and the idea here was obviously I wanted to group these also by due date and by month, and then we can filter. Once again, all of our bills by status is to pay. Let's see. And then now we can compare our receivables in relation to our payables. So in this case, we have a lot more outgoing than we have incoming. If I do the math correctly, looks like we're on the cusp. So moving forward, all of these payment terms that we've created, those are great. The next question would be is how do I automate or follow up on these and who's late and who's not? So Odoo has this great feature will remain in the accounting app, and it's called the follow-up feature. So if I go back to accounting, to enable that feature, you want to go to the accounting app, go to configuration, and from here, you want to go to settings. In this case, it has already been enabled, but I will show you where in what section in version 12 at least, you will find this small feature. It's a small box. You want to go down all the way to customer payments, and it's called follow-up levels. Alternatively, rather than scroll down, you can just come into configuration and settings, hit Control F, and just type follow-ups, and you're right there. So once you enable follow-up levels and you hit save, you'll have to come back, and then you can set up your follow-up levels. That has already been done, and let's go ahead and take a look at our follow-up levels that are already pre-existing. So what we've done here is we've said our first reminder email will be due in 5 days. We'll go out in 5 days, and you can select what to do, which is send an email, print a letter, send a letter, and other manual actions you can do. And then we have a second reminder, a letter and an email that'll be sent out 10 days later, and then a call. And very quickly, I'll show you how this has been set up. You can select the days here. Let's say you want, let's go ahead, let's discard this, and let's add a new line. And let's say I want to do a follow-up action, and we'll call it 30-day follow-up. Let's say this is for a customer that has net 45. So we'll put 30 days here, and then you can select whether you want to just send an email or print a letter and send a letter. And then obviously this is the message that would go out to the customer who would be receiving this letter. You can change this however you want, add your text. And once you're done, you can go ahead and hit save it and close. Now, if you want to do a manual action like a phone call, you would deselect all of these, do a manual action. You can assign it to a specific person within the, let's say, the accounting department to do the call. I'll send it to Raul. Manual action type, you can select whether it's a call or meeting. We'll leave call. Payment. And then we will hit save and close. And so now we have this new follow-up showing up on as an option. So we'll hit save. And maybe what we could do is try to create a sales order with a retroactive date. Let's see if that works and see if this fires up any one of these triggers. So, and this is kind of off the cuff. Let's see if it works. We'll go to sales. I'm going to create another sales order, and I'm going to set the date to a past date. Let's say this is again for Salemania. We've already sold them a product, iPhone 8. And we will say that payment terms were immediate payment. And then let's see, validity. Let's say this was sent. Let's say that was immediate. Let's just choose the 1st of September. And let's go ahead and confirm the sales order. And then we're going to go ahead and create the invoice. So in essence, this is a tardy bill that hasn't been paid by our customer. And now let's see what has happened. Let's see what section it is real quick. From here, we go to customers, follow-up reports. And sure enough, we have, I'm not sure if this is the one I created or if this is a collection of, yep, there it is. Here's the tardy one that was just created. So to view your follow-up notifications, you come into accounting. Under customers, you can do a follow-up reports. And to wrap up, to kind of talk about, maybe I can show, talk about using payment terms. I have an anecdotal case where payment terms actually closed a deal. And again, I urge everyone to be creative. I know maybe perhaps for accounting, payment terms is not their favorite topic because it just means that, you know, funds are being delayed and from the receiving standpoint, financial standpoint. But the sales team will always view payment terms as a sales tool. A specific scenario that recently happened was one of our partners had an end customer that had a subscription model with Odoo. And that customer was not really, didn't think of, had to be moved to a non-monthly subscription, more of a yearly. They weren't comfortable about paying a yearly subscription. They still wanted it to remain within a monthly. And so the sale was kind of up in the air. So after a discussion with a partner, the idea that we pitched was the partner can go ahead and purchase the yearly membership for that service from Odoo, and then negotiate payment terms with the end customer where they felt comfortable. Not necessarily monthly, but the end result was our partner was able to negotiate quarterly payments. And so they designed their own payment terms in that case, which would be quarterly. And if that is the case, I'm not sure if I can grab, I have a link that maybe I'll just go ahead and launch it here, and I'm going to put it really quick. And in that case, this is what the quarterly payment layout was. It was a percentage. It was 25%, 0 days. The next 25% were 90 days later, 25%, 180 days later, and of course the balance at the end. And that way, you know, again, they were able to secure this deal using payment terms creatively. And I think that's it. This was going to be a webinar. It's not really much in depth than what we went to today. So to recap, payment terms can be set at various levels. It could be set on the contact level, and then within the contact, it could be a vendor or a customer. It could be set on the sales order, and also obviously be used on the purchase on any purchase orders, so that you can reconcile your books and view the difference between the receivables and payables to give you a good idea of how much cash you will end up for the upcoming months. And I think that's it, Noel.
Well, awesome. Great.
Short and sweet.
Work. Yeah, short and sweet. As you know, some of these webinar topics are a little narrower in scope and focus, so they may not take the full hour that we typically set aside, and that is okay.
Yes.
It doesn't look like we have any questions at the moment, but I would like to remind everyone that if you have any last-minute ones, you can always send them to webinars@odoo.com, or if you would like to get in touch with Dowd directly, Dowd, what is your email address?
My email is very simple. It's dan@odoo.com. So dan@odoo.com.
Great. Additionally, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can keep making these webinar videos for you all. And then finally, we do have Odoo Tour events starting up again in November. You can find all of that information at odoo.com/events. Dowd, will you be attending any in the near future?
Good question. I think the Toronto one, so that'll be in British Columbia, Canada.
Oh, right.
Hopefully so.
Well, yeah, so, it's always a great opportunity to see us and make sure that we are indeed flesh and blood human beings.
It's true.
Well, great. Well, then, thank you all from us here in the Odoo San Francisco offices. This is us signing off. We'll see you all next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.